Donald Trump in a world of trouble. He needs to win Virginia. Virginia used to be a red state. President Obama has won it a couple of times, much more blue these days. I believe, and I've said all along, even in my projections from about a month ago where I thought it was going to be a very close race, that was before the Trump tapes, I thought Hillary Clinton would still win Virginia. He can win the election without Virginia, but boy, it would have been nice to get what was a red state for a long time in his column. It looks like he is not going to be doing that. So Donald Trump's campaign, according to NBC News, is pulling out of Virginia, a move that stuns staff in the battleground state, according to 3 sources with knowledge of the decision. So once you pull out of a state and you pull your staff from there and you pull your ads from that state, that means you've given up. You think her lead is too large. Now, if he's given up Virginia, I'm going to show you why that means he's this close to losing, but not quite yet. Now, let me tell you the repercussions and how this goes down. Of course, the people on the ground there working for Trump are livid. The recently fired Virginia State Chairman Corey Stewart was mad. He was fired because he was doing a gross protest in front of the RNC when Trump started a war with the other Republicans. But anyway, he ran to Virginia for Trump for a long time, and he says, I think it's totally premature for the campaign to be pulling out of Virginia after so much work and all the hundreds of hours of volunteer time and thousands of volunteers. The only thing the campaign had to do was spend money on an ad campaign, and it would have been competitive. I'm just disgusted. So now look, the guys on the ground, whenever the national team decides to pull out, they always get mad. They always think they could have won the state. They're optimistic. That's why they're on the ground working for that particular candidate. But I think the interesting part of that is he says, why didn't they run ads? That's because your candidate is incompetent. And he went and begged for money from all the Republican donors. He pretends that he's self-funding his campaign. He's not. He went to Sheldon Adelson. He went to all the regular cast of characters among the Republican donors, but he couldn't get enough money. So he said, I don't need the money. It turns out you needed the money, you schmuck. Not only do you not have the money for the ads, you don't have enough money to sustain your staff on the ground. So now an incredibly important battleground state is already done for Donald Trump. He thinks he has no chance of winning it. Pathetic. Look, and I said that Hillary Clinton would narrowly win, and I said the reason she'd win is because of his incompetence. If you run an incompetent campaign, at some point it catches up to you. And boy, is it catching up to him now. Let me give you more context. Stewart also said they have not been spending money on an ad campaign for months. I told you. Doesn't know what he's doing. They've had a fraction of the number of paid staff as the Clinton campaign, despite promises by the RNC to boost that up. And he says, when you do that, it makes it, quote, next to impossible to win the state. That's right. That's why people told him to raise more money if he was going to go in that direction. If he wanted to go in an honest direction and actually raise it from the American people and not use a PAC, not go to the donors, that would have been a different equation. But he didn't go that path. He went to the path of going to donors. He just failed at it because that's what he is. He's a miserable failure. So now let's look at the consequences. NBC explains the move to pull out of Virginia shows Trump is running essentially a 4-state campaign, with the focus now shifting to battlegrounds critical to his chances in November: Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio. A source with the knowledge of the decision told NBC News. Guys, let me break that down for you because I've done the electoral math. In order for Donald Trump to win, if he does not have Virginia, he must win Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina. Those are not negotiable. And right now, he is losing in all 3 states. North Carolina is very close. Ohio is surprisingly close. He's losing on the average of the polling in Ohio, but in the last poll, he was up by 1 in Ohio. But the fact that Hillary Clinton is not blowing him away in all of those states is unbelievable. But okay, fine. It doesn't matter. He has to win all 3 of those states for him to win the contest. It's not negotiable. He loses any of them and he's done. He cannot win with the map as it is. So I'm going to assume, for the purposes of this conversation, that he wins those 3 states. The 4th state that he has to win is Pennsylvania. That means if those are the 4 they're concentrating on, that means they also think they have no chance of winning Michigan, Wisconsin, Maine, and Colorado. Well, if you don't have a chance of winning those and you just eliminated Virginia, that means you have to win Pennsylvania. Na, 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 na. It's not close in Pennsylvania. It's not close. So if the election were held today, no way he wins Pennsylvania. I don't know what's going to happen in under a month that is so devastating to move those numbers that much in Pennsylvania. So if that's his hope, it is not a good hope. I would not pin your hopes on that. It's not quite yet over because Hillary Clinton cannot pull away from him in Florida and Ohio. It is maddening. It is unbelievable given all the things that have come out about Donald Trump. The polling in Ohio where Trump is leading by 1 is after the tapes came out. Okay, so it's not over yet. But if he thinks he's got to win Pennsylvania because he's giving up on Virginia and Colorado, well, then it's this close to over.
TYT members get a lot of behind-the-scenes footage that most of our audience never gets to see. Cenk shares too much. I usually get a little irritated by it, and we usually go back and forth about things that we disagree about. And if you're interested in seeing that and more, just become a member by going to tytnetwork.com/join.